Hey guys, not sure if this video should go on our Odd Stuff in Japan playlist or our Fashion in Japan playlist. So this is actually from New Year. So we took this footage on New Year and finally got around to putting it together for you. So we've showed you people wearing slippers on television before. It's not uncommon, and we've showed you game shows before. This is a combination of both. So it's a game show with all these sort of well-known people, talent they're called in Japan, and they've got to choose. So on the left there you'll see some flowers and one set is real and one set is fake, and they've got to choose which one is the real one, which is fake, A or B. So those guys have decided it's B. So this is the whole game, and it's sort of an interesting thing from a Japanese cultural point of view, because they want to be right, which is sort of a human trait, isn't it? But they don't want to be wrong on their own. So there's a really big deal about making the same decision as everybody else. So when they've decided which they think it is, A or B, or sometimes C, they go and sit in that room. And it's really interesting to watch. Now look at the slippers on their feet, that's part of it. But interesting to watch how they react to going into the room and finding there's lots of other people in there, or going into the room finding there's no one else in there. Because Japanese way of thinking is you want to be part of the group, you don't want to be different. So if everybody's decided it's A and these guys go into B and there's no one else in there, they're devastated, right? Oh no, we're different. We have different thinking to the other people. We've made a different choice to the other people. And then as a result of what they decide, and if they're correct or incorrect, they get penalized or they get rewarded. And if they get penalized, they get given slippers that are less comfortable and less cool. Or if they get it right, they're given slippers that are more comfortable and more cool, right? So it's a classic bit of Japanese thinking as far as wanting to be having the same thinking as the rest of the group. And then this whole slippers thing, the whole wearing a suit and slippers on television is not an unusual thing in Japan at all. So here's some guys coming back from having made their decision, and they're getting a reward as they come in, and they're given more comfy slippers because they did well. So I got to tell you, at first Japanese game shows do seem sort of fun and entertaining, and occasionally they are, but it does wear thin after a while, because if you're not Japanese, the things that they find exciting and interesting are not necessarily what we would. You know, in this case, it's, we thought the same as each other, and isn't that a good feeling? And then, of course, if they get it right, then that's even better. And then the whole slippers thing. And so the reason we're watching this was because New Year. So New Year, when we got Shogatsu with the family, usually the television's on, and this is on every year. They do this every year. It's sort of famous in Japan. So these guys didn't do well, so they've got to take off their slippers and get given less comfy slippers, right? So I've had to slow some of this footage right down to give it to you, because it was actually very brief that it was actually shown. So I had to slow it down to give you an idea what was actually going on. So yes, Japanese game shows, they can be entertaining a little bit at first, but it does sort of wear thin after a while. It's like, yeah, we're doing this again, are we? Right, everybody wants to think the same. Wearing a suit and slippers on national television, that's really actually common. In this particular game, it's a sort of a focus because that's the reward or that's the penalty. However, in just normal game shows or normal television in Japan, you'll often see people having the TV dramas are pretty funny. You'll have people having a really dramatic conversation wearing suits, but because they're in a home or because they're in an office, they'll be wearing slippers, and it's really, really common. And this isn't a very old Japanese culture thing either. The slippers thing came in when wooden floors started to replace tatami floors in Japan, and that's only in the last 50, 60 years, 70 years maybe. So the whole slippers thing, it's sort of deeply into Japanese culture now, but really it's not that old. In the old days of tatami, you couldn't wear slippers on tatami, so the slippers weren't really a thing. But then as new buildings started to have wooden floors, the people who made the buildings with the wooden floors told the customers to wear slippers, and now everybody thinks wearing slippers is a normal thing to do. And they wear them in TV studios. So it's just the thing they do. They see it as being clean rather than wearing your street shoes, wearing the slippers is being clean. So anyway, that's more than enough of that. More videos coming soon.